Hey, Special Agents! Welcome to Agents in Action, Week 9. We have been learning so much about how God wants us to live and act as His special agents in this world. So are you ready for your new challenge for this week? Okay, I'm going to tell you the story, and you see if you can figure out what the challenge might be. So here's the story. Jesus was teaching. And he was out there teaching and telling people about God and telling them how they should live their lives and teaching them, educating them. And a man, while he was teaching, said to him, Hey, Jesus, my father died, and tell my brother to give me the money because he's not giving me my money. Because when a parent would die, the property was split. What the parents owned was split between the kids. And this brother didn't feel that he was getting his fair share. And so Jesus said to him, he said, am I arbiter? Am I judge? And he wasn't trying to be mean. He knew that there were more important things than money. And he was trying to help this guy see that money wasn't the super important thing. So then he told a story. And Jesus would often teach in stories. So here's one of the stories that he told. So he told this guy this story. He said, there was a farmer, and he had an awesome year. Some years the crops just grow so well, and other years there's not enough rain or not enough sunshine and they don't grow as well. Well, this was a year they grew so well, and his barns were too small to hold all of his crops. And he's like, oh, look at all my crops. My barn's not big enough. I know, I'll tear it down and I'll build a bigger barn to hold all my crops. So he does, he tears it down, he builds a bigger barn, fills it with all his crops, then he sits back and he's like, look at that. Now I can just sit back and enjoy life because my barn is so full. My new huge barn is so full. And God was watching all this, and God said, oh, you fool. Because God knew something that this guy didn't. God knew that guy's time on earth was done. It was his time to die. And he had spent all his money and effort building a bigger barn to hold all his crops. And he died. And we don't get to take our things with us. And God knew that, and it was very sad. So Jesus told this man that story as a way of showing him that the things like money and the things that we own, our possessions, are not as important. So what is our lesson through all of that? What is our lesson for this week? Do you have an idea what it might be? Let's look at our envelopes and see. Okay, here's our envelope for week 9. Let's see what it says. And we've got some, there's some different papers in here that say different things. I know what we need to do with this. We have to figure out what order these words go in. And we have to be careful because sometimes there's extra words in there to try to distract us. So let's see if we can figure it out. Okay, here are our words. We have generous, thankful, be, summer, soccer, and. Well, let's see if we can figure this out. And usually connects two things. So let's see. And let's move B out of the way for a minute. Summer and soccer. Summer and soccer. Do those two things seem like they would go together? Yeah, they could go together. You play soccer in the summer when the weather's nice. But did that have anything to do with our lesson? Well, summer did because that's when crops grow, but soccer? No, I think this was a distracting word, so let's move it over here. Okay, summer and thankful. Summer and thankful? Summer and generous? Oh, what about generous and thankful? Thankful and generous? And then where would the be? Thankful and generous be. That's a little off the screen, sorry. Thankful and generous be. How about that? Be thankful and generous. That seems like a really great lesson. So God wants us to be thankful and generous. Notice in our story, when the farmer had all this extra stuff, all these extra crops, did he thank God for them? No, he didn't thank God for them. He just said, oh, look at all this stuff for me. Yay, me. And was he generous? Did he share? He could have fed so many people with that extra and still had enough for him. Still had enough to sell and make money and buy the things that he needed. He had so much extra he could have shared. And he didn't. He just hoarded it all and kept it all. So he wasn't being generous. And he didn't thank God. He wasn't being thankful. And that's our lesson, is God wants us to be generous and thankful because he knows that our material possessions are not the most important things. He wants us to take care of other people. He wants us to be thankful and appreciate what we have. So your challenge this week is I want you to be thankful for the blessings that you have, but also find ways to be generous. And it's not just with our stuff. We can share our stuff, but we can also be generous with our time and share our time with other people. Maybe it might be helping mom and dad with some chores. Or maybe if your younger brother or sister really wants to play a game with you, giving them your time and sharing that with them. It's all great things. So that's my challenge for you this week. Figure out how to be generous and thankful. And I'll see you next week.